Oxford from the inside. The good, the bad, but always the truth. Hi, I'm Abbie, and welcome to this episode of Oxford from the Inside. The good, the bad, but always the truth. Today we are joined by Ama, Khush, Akshar, and András. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
So I'm Kushal, easier to go by Kush. I'm a second year law student at Oxford University at St Catherine's College, and I am the Vice President of the Oxford Hub for Insight Outreach.
Okay, Akshar, do you want to go?
Yeah, I'll jump in. So hi, I'm Akshar. I'm a second year at Pembroke College, Cambridge. I study history and modern languages, and I'm the president of the Insight Outreach Cambridge Hub.
Fab. Ama?
Hi, I'm Ama, and I'm a second year medic at Christchurch, Oxford, and I'm president of the Oxford Hub.
Brilliant. And then finally, András.
Yes, hello, I'm András. I am a first year mathematician at Robinson College, Cambridge, and I'm the vice president of the Cambridge Hub.
Fab. So welcome to the show, guys. It's honestly such a pleasure to have you all here. So today we actually have a special episode where we'll actually be talking about the amazing charity called Insight Outreach. But more importantly, we'll actually be focusing on the Insight Outreach Oxford and Cambridge hubs. So without further ado, we'll start with the questions. So I think, Akshar, I might direct this one at you first. So what is Insight Outreach? Like, what does it entail?
Yeah, thanks. So Insight Outreach is a social mobility charity set up by Joyce Connell and Nick Cerruti, which aim is to tackle underrepresentation at the UK's top universities so that students with talent and potential have the opportunity to secure a place at Oxford or Cambridge, succeed, and then progress into their chosen career. And most importantly, the charity is focused on opening doors. Their kind of motto is opening doors to a future that reflects their talent, not their background. So within that, what the charity really runs, its flagship scheme is the OMS, which is the Oxbridge Mentoring Scheme. And it's recently also launched its social impact internships. So that's kind of the really quick elevator pitch of what Insight Outreach is.
So yeah, I mean, it's honestly like I've only been working with the charity recently, but it honestly sounds like such an amazing scheme. And I know that talking to a lot of people, they've all wanted to get involved. So linking to that actually, how could someone actually look to get involved with Insight Outreach then? I don't know, András, do you want to step in with that one?
So there are a couple of ways that you can get involved. The first thing is that there is a website which Insight Outreach has, which has opportunities to get involved as a mentor if you're currently at uni in your specialist subject. I know at the minute that there is actually quite a drive to boost to get more mentors in certain subjects, so it is well worth checking out. I certainly also know that if you are in Oxford or Cambridge, that we have these brand new initiatives called the Oxford and Cambridge Hubs. And I'm sure we're going to come on to that in more detail later, but that's another way that you can easily get involved whilst at uni.
Brilliant, yeah. And like you said, like there's websites where, you know, the charity's always looking for mentors. So if you're an Oxford student and you're looking to be a mentor, then please feel free to sign up. Likewise, if you are a student in sixth form and you're looking to apply to Oxbridge, then please feel free to sign up as a mentee as well. So but yeah, that's the aims of the charity. So thank you very much, guys. So I'll go to Ama then. So what are then the Insight Outreach with hubs? Like, what are their aims and their values?
Yes, so the Oxford Hubs were launched this year. It was actually Akshar's brain baby. So essentially his idea was that kind of access shouldn't really stop once you've got through the door, and he wanted to kind of bring the community of OMS mentors and mentees together. So he started these hubs, and we essentially aim to promote social mobility via Insight Outreach at Oxford, recruit more mentors and create more of a community amongst the university.
Fab, yeah, that's great. Actually, I wondered, because it's your brainchild, I was wondering if you wanted to add anything there.
Yeah, I mean, I love that it's called a brain baby now. I'm going to use that whenever I refer to the hubs. Definitely. I mean, that's exactly what it is. It's kind of, for me, I thought, having been a mentee on the scheme in 2018, I got a lot of help from March to December of that year. But then I came to university and then I had no connection with the charity anymore. And I had to kind of get that myself or apply for internships with the charity. So it's kind of a way of, the way I saw it is you have like your college families, you might have like subject families, like IO as well at Oxford and Cambridge should have the same element of community and being a family, where if you have questions, if you have any anxieties or worries, that you've got like bigger siblings to go to. Because the way Into Outreach kind of formulates its mentoring scheme is that the mentor is a bigger sibling to their mentee, and that I think that carries on when you're in second year compared to being a first year or similar.
Yeah, I think it is really such a nice idea to sort of take structure of having like a college parent to reflect that in the charity. So yeah, I think it's a great brainchild, basically. Well done. So Khush, I think were you a mentee? I think, did you say you were a mentee?
Yeah, so I'm actually giving credit again to Akshar's brain baby. Was a mentee in the same year as Akshar from the same school. So like him, managed to get the support and the access from March to December kind of period, which was really helpful. And then I think that's when Akshar reached out and contacted me, I jumped at the opportunity to get back involved with the charity, because like you said, it's important to keep fostering the links after you've gotten here and keep those going and give back.
Definitely, yeah. Especially, for something like this, I think it's so important that to just give back what help you've gotten. I know that's why I'm very big on access, because I had so much help when I was applying to Oxbridge. So let's sort of link to what you said then, Khush. Do you think then that the hubs are, as someone who was getting help from the charity, do you think that the hubs is a really nice idea in sort of carrying on that help to students who are working with the charity but also receiving help from the charity as well?
I think definitely, because from my experience as a mentee, my contact was very much the mentor and the other people who are menteeing with me in my group, at least back in 2018. But after that, honestly, I completely lost contact with all of them. I lost contact with the people I was applying with and the mentor. And I think having these hubs who have actually got students who are currently there and got past alumni and people who are coming in and keeping this constant stream of network around these like age groups and these years gives you people to stay in touch with, and gives you people who are going through the same things and a network of support that's always going to be relevant and stays up to date. And I think that's really important, and that's where the hubs come in.
That's really good. It's almost like you're creating like a big network, or as you said, Ama, like a big family. I suppose that's so important, because networking is also a very big part of the Oxford lifestyle. And I think, yeah, I mean, if you can get involved in this sort of kind of thing, it's so important. So I think we'll go with Akshar then. So what have the hubs done so far then to sort of improve access, outreach and welfare within the universities then?
So naturally, it's been a bit of a rocky year. This term, we launched them in September, October of this year. So it's been a bit kind of crazy trying to get stuff done. The big thing that we did this term was reaching out to our former students of the OMS. So those that are now in second year or in first year at Oxford and Cambridge who got their places. We kind of sent everyone a little card saying congratulations for getting in. We at the charity are really proud of you. If you have any questions, feel free to get in touch with us. We also gave them a chocolate and some sweets as well, just to congratulate them as well. And we had a few responses as well from students saying, I'm so happy to receive this card. I'm really looking forward to volunteering any way that I can, which was really uplifting. Obviously, we've got more plans for next term as well, but it just really depends on how this pandemic pans out.
Definitely, yeah. No, honestly, I feel considering how young the idea of the hubs is, and also considering the coronavirus situation, I'd say what the hubs have achieved so far is actually quite impressive. And we're looking towards big things, aren't we? So hopefully we can expand and maybe hold some events in the near future. So leading on from that then, Ama, what would you say are some sort of future plans for the hubs then?
I think in a time where there's no COVID and we can do kind of more events in person, it would be really nice to have some sort of physical meetup. So we were talking before about maybe having like a dinner or something of that sort to kind of actually physically bring the community together, and where we can discuss about what kind of everybody wants to do with the hubs and kind of go from there.
Yeah, it sounds really good. András, I don't know if the Cambridge hub has any other ideas as well?
Oh, I must admit, funnily enough, we are quite similar at the moment. That if no COVID appears, then we will be definitely holding some sort of social formal in some sense. However, our other big thing that I'm pretty sure the Oxford Hub are also planning as well is that because our current cohort of mentees in the OMS is now finished, we want to start to reach out to them. Those who've got offers from Oxbridge will start to contact them and then hopefully get them involved with the hubs just so the IO community can grow more.
That's really great, yeah. And I think it would be so nice when, you know, all this sort of passes, this whole time passes, to be able to really like get out and actually engage with the students, you know, new students who want to, you know, become part of the charity, but also students who've been part of the charity since they were mentees. So it'd be really nice to actually mix, you know, get a good mix of people and to really like actually engage with them rather than being online, obviously.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. So Khush, you kind of, so you've already sort of mentioned this actually, but I was like, why should students get involved with Insight Outreach then? And more specifically, why should they get involved with the Oxbridge hubs then?
I think in particular, there's a lot of students who, to start with the mentees, there are a lot of students who really do have the potential and the ability to get here, but they just don't apply. And I think it's important, the IO hubs in particular, because we're around the same age as the applicants, and because we're kind of centered around the whole process, we can dispel, one, the myths around Oxbridge in getting people to apply in the first place. And I think, secondly, with the mentors, the people who are actually here and the people who are engaging in the hub and helping people get to the same position that they are. I mean, everyone wants to hear it. First of all, even if it's the sole reason you apply, it's still good to give back, even if it's just going to look good on your CV, for one. But I think it also kind of keeps you grounded. And I think it's important to understand that we are incredibly, like, we've worked hard, but we're also incredibly privileged to be at this university. And I think just to recognize that being able to provide those opportunities to other people, and being able to mentor, which will help develop your own interpersonal skills, communication skills, these are all stuff that people look for in employment as well, is really important.
Yeah, definitely. And I think my take from that is that I think for such a little sacrifice on our part, it has a massive impact and a really big effect on someone else's life. And I think that's one of the really like main and important things about access. Yeah.
The other great thing with Insight Outreach is, so in a meeting the other day, one of the members of the kind of central team described other mentoring schemes as kind of Oxbridge Tinder, where you kind of get matched up with a mentor and a mentee. With Insight Outreach, I mean, with the social impact internships or with the hubs, with like really comprehensive mentor training, the good thing is that the charity offers more than just the chance to mentor somebody. It actually provides a lot of support as well, for both the student and as in for the mentee and the mentor. So like you have a lot of opportunities, like Khush said, to like develop your own skills, to get access to careers webinars into law, consulting, which is what a lot of other mentoring teams may not be able to offer. Which I think with the whole family community concept makes it a lot stronger when you may have seen someone on a webinar. Obviously you might want to see them in person as well, but they might be doing your subjects, or you might know your mentor and then you might go to the same university as them. You might even be able to meet them in person as well. So there's a lot more layers, I think, to what Insight Outreach can offer students.
Yeah, I think that's very true actually, because I've seen quite a lot of like mentoring schemes where, you know, you'll be signed up, you know, you'll be assigned like an Oxbridge student, and then they'll answer your questions, or they might tutor you for a week, or they might read over your personal statement, but it never really goes beyond that. It's kind of one sort of specific thing, whereas this is very much like you have almost like a parent who sort of watches over you and guides you throughout the whole process, and gives you advice when you need it. So it really is an impressive scheme, and yeah, I would definitely recommend it, like signing up for it if you if you're looking to apply for Oxbridge. So exciting. Are there any future plans then for collaboration between the two hubs?
I mean, certainly during term time, when everyone's in either Oxford or Cambridge, it is quite hard for any of us to take enough time off to go and socialise between the unis. But I certainly see no reason why there shouldn't be some sort of meet the other half, essentially, at some point in the holidays, so to speak. I'm sure the others will agree with me there.
Yeah,
Or at
definitely.
least I really hope they do.
But definitely. I think also, on one hand, it's weird, like Oxford and Cambridge can seem quite similar, but they also are quite different places. So getting that perspective of two different universities can really help. But also, if we ever run events, and I think we really should have kind of support or like discussion groups and mentors, same for mentees as well. There's no reason why the two can't work together on those. But yeah, you never know. We might get some kind of in-person swaps with the other place if we really want to head down there.
I think also it'd be good to have a point of contact, even just as a social network between the mentors at Oxford and the mentors at Cambridge, because everyone's got that whole Oxford and Cambridge have a rivalry type of thing. So I think it'd also be nice if we're continually promoting this idea of a family and a network and a parent, to have like some friendly competitions between the mentors and the mentees and things at the universities. And I think it'll be good to get a perspective of the other side per se, both when applying and both when acting as a mentor.
Very true.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it is really important as well, because I think, like I said, having a big network of people is it never harms, does it? And clearly the Cambridge people they're all right. They're quite nice. We'll accept
We'll
it.
take that as a compliment, I think.
So considering that the hubs then are focused very much on sort of keeping up, maintaining access, outreach, and also welfare for current mentors are in the universities at the moment, are there sort of like, what advice then would you give to current mentors in these sort of difficult sort of COVID times then? Ama, I don't know if you wanted to sort of say something on that.
So my advice for any current mentors might be to kind of think outside of the box. How can you kind of show them the kind of, because I was a mentor in the scheme as well. So I've been thinking like, how can I kind of replicate what I had using like Skype or like Zoom? So I guess kind of creative ways to get across your point and kind of keep your mentees engaged and interested in the subject and like ready to investigate.
Yeah, fab. That's great. I don't know, Akshar, do you want to say any more on that?
Yeah, I think the other difficult thing I think is also, as much as we've got a lot of online stuff, like schools going in and out of isolation kind of all the time, because like classrooms are bubbles, and then if a certain number in the class test positive, they have to go home. So remembering that when I was a mentee, I was in person for school, and then I was online for the mentoring, like I was on a different platform, but now that's what the students have as well. So I've tried like as much as I can to not run the session like it's a Zoom tutorial, like a Zoom supervision, but more as interactive as possible. So even if that means like you're sharing a Google Doc where you're both putting your ideas down, or like you're watching videos at some point, like just making it as interactive as possible, just to get rid of that Zoom fatigue that I think all of us are suffering from.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've got you all on Zoom at the moment. Sorry, guys. But that's so important, though. I think considering the current situation, we are very much stuck online and doing stuff. So I think trying to break that mold and trying to engage them in different ways, and really most importantly, trying to have fun, especially when you're mentoring them, because it can seem almost quite daunting to like, and intimidating to to apply for Oxbridge. I know in my personal view, I thought it was quite daunting to apply for Oxbridge, and I think just like almost like making it fun and just engaging, I think that's so important.
I think also along those same lines, speaking to the mentors who are on the scheme, or mentors in general, if you're considering wanting to apply as a mentor to IO, especially in the current time, given how daunting it is both for the people applying to Oxbridge in a time of a pandemic, in a time of it being all virtual, it's also daunting for the mentors. And I think if there were any advice you could give to them, it would be, don't be afraid to ask for help, because I mean the whole point of this is we're trying to mentor people to get them to be able to get into Oxbridge and to leading universities, and you want to be able to help them as best as you possibly can. If that requires you to step back sometimes, or to ask for some help on how to deliver a lesson plan, how to do something virtually, then I think that's also important to consider.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Don't be afraid to ask for help, especially in times like this. It is, like you said, it's so important. And you'll find that even just like asking for a little bit of help may actually help you tons. So this is the moment. So say I'm someone and I'm looking to get information on the hubs. where would I look to get this information? So let's start plugging, guys.
Well, I mean, first point of call is Facebook. We are all over Facebook. We have both Facebook pages for the two hubs. And for those savvy enough that Instagram links to Facebook, we don't have our own Instagram account, but the main IO account will post regular updates on what we're doing, what we've done, and what is happening in general with the charity. And I'm pretty sure it is Insight Outreach. We are the only Insight Outreach, so it shouldn't be too hard to find.
And just a little note on that, if you're looking at this on Instagram, then the Insight Outreach Instagram will be tagged in the comments below. So do follow. Also, yeah, so we've got Instagram, so we have Facebook, and also how would someone go about signing up to be a mentor?
The best way for that would be to go on the website, which is insightoutreach.org. And it's very kind of like, it is what it says on the tin. You go to, I think, become a mentor, and then you drop your details down, and you should get some confirmation back from the charity as well. I mean, if you're on Instagram as well, which is at Insight Outreach, the link to the website is there. Yeah, just take a look.
Fab, that's great. So then, I think I'll get every one of you to answer this question, but what advice would you give to mentees and students who are looking to apply to Oxford or Cambridge? András, do you want to start?
Sure. So I presume we're going to give advice for the 2021 applications, because the 2020 have just closed. I suppose the best piece of advice is, as early as you can, start the practicing of the interview style questions. I mean, I certainly know from my subject, the maths gets extremely hard very quickly. And so you would need a lot of practice with the way they ask questions to become familiar with how you're meant to approach them. And I have no doubt that for other subjects, it's probably very similar. The way they require you to think is often a lot different to how you're taught to think in school. So the earlier you can get at those practice questions, the better. That said, there is no point stressing yourself out now. Just, you still have time, so take your time to research it first, make sure it's definitely what you want, and then go graciously into it, so to speak.
Fab, that's great. Khush, anything to add?
I think there's always the revise for the practice tests, revise for the interviews kind of thing, which is very helpful advice because it is something that requires a lot of preparation. But I would say the main thing for me is if I had to give any advice, targeting it to the humanities particularly, which is something we're driving to get more involvement in among both mentees and mentors, is stay up to date with current affairs. I think it's really important just to build your own like commercial awareness and just general understanding. And you'd be surprised how many interview questions will take on something on the news or bring up a case or an article or something and ask you to give your own personal views and opinions. And I think it's important to be able to do that you've got wider reading generally around the subject. And I think now, with interviews like a year away, is the perfect time to start doing that to build up a solid base.
Yeah, definitely. As soon as possible, I think, to try and get as much information as possible. But that being said, don't stress out about it. You know, if you will probably come to the interviews not knowing something, and that's completely normal. And that's like, you're not, you know, out of the ordinary. I can certainly vouch that I did not know stuff in my interviews. Ama, what advice would you give to mentees and students looking to apply for Oxford or Cambridge?
I would say don't second guess yourself. I feel like because of the stigma of Oxbridge, lots of people think that it's not attainable for them, when in reality it is. And I think like students should keep an open mind. If you're really interested in the subject, make sure you read up on it, you watch documentaries, maybe if it's possible, get work experience, and just go for it, because you never know until you try, and I think it's worth a shot.
Brilliant, yeah, definitely. And also as well, if you can't get, just to say on work experience, if you can't get yourself some sort of work experience, lab placements or whatever beforehand, don't worry about it, because obviously they don't pick you based on how much work experience you've got beforehand. Just make sure that you show your enthusiasm in your personal statement and also in your interviews. And then finally, last but certainly not least, Akshar.
I guess my two big bits of advice would be, firstly, is to apply for and like do what you really, really love. So don't apply for a subject at Oxbridge because it has got great career prospects, or because you think that's what your parents want you to do, or you know, what your nan's dogs, you know, like dogs to tell you to do. Like, apply for what you think you're best at, what you're most passionate about, because Oxbridge interviewers know how to get that out of you in the interviews. They will find out if you don't really love a subject, and you'll really enjoy the degree more if you something that you really love. And the other side is like Ama said, be true to yourself, but also like be honest and open with your entire application. So, you know, if there's some kind of really cheesy story, but which is the real story which led you to really love chemistry or psychology, then like go with that, like show that, tell that to the interviewers. Like there's no reason to hide, you know, what inspires you as a person, especially because there really isn't like an Oxbridge type student. You don't have to be a certain type of person to go there, because they really want people who are just, you know, quite smart and love their subjects on the whole. So if you can bring that in your application, if you can be as honest as you can, definitely do it, because it makes you a more kind of well-rounded person when you're applying, but it also makes it seem like it's much more from the heart, and it's not like kind of superficial application that you're making. So like, yeah, just back yourself and really commit to what you're doing, because all of you've got a brilliant shot.
Oh, that was a really great way to finish it. But definitely, yeah, just put your own flair to your application. Don't be afraid to be unique, and just go for it. Just believe in yourself. I think that's the most important thing. Just have a bit of courage, and just know that, yeah, that you've got nothing to lose. Basically, at that point, you've got nothing to lose. So that's actually all we have time for today. We've actually learned some really, really cool and interesting stuff about Insight Outreach and the Oxbridge hubs. But thank you so much for sharing your experiences and also the future plans with us, and also for joining us at Oxford from the Inside. I strongly encourage Oxbridge students to apply as mentors, but also for prospective students to apply as mentees as well. Also, thank you to our followers for listening to this podcast and also for watching this YouTube video. Remember to follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is at Oxford from the Inside, no spaces. But also remember to follow Insight Outreach, so that's just at Insight Outreach. And also remember to check out our Facebook page, our LinkedIn, our Twitter pages. Pretty much, we're on all social media, you name it, we're on it. But I hope you all stay safe and well, and until next time, bye.
Bye.